Alaska is a land of endless wilderness, where the silence of snow can feel heavier than any scream. Beneath the northern lights, abandoned towns crumble into the ice, and forgotten mines whisper with voices that should no longer exist. Here, isolation is its own kind of haunting miles of frozen emptiness where if something follows you, no one will hear. Tonight, we'll uncover 10 places across Alaska where shadows linger longer than the daylight, where the spirits of miners, settlers, and wanderers may still walk the permafrost, waiting for you to join them. 1. The Alaska Hotel, Juneau, Alaska. Downtown Juneau bustles with shops, tourists, and the noise of cruise ships. But step inside the Alaska Hotel, built in 1913, and the atmosphere changes instantly. This historic landmark is said to be home to countless restless spirits. One of the most famous is a woman who was murdered in her room decades ago. Guests claim she still appears in mirrors, her figure pale, her eyes filled with sorrow. Others report the sensation of someone climbing into bed with them, the mattress dipping, sheets pulling tight though the room is locked from the inside. Staff whisper about room 315 where lights flicker uncontrollably and doors lock on their own. Bartenders in the lounge have seen glasses slide across the bar without being touched. Late at night, the sound of a piano drifts from the empty lobby, each note sharp as ice. The hotel embraces its haunted reputation, but locals know better. They say the building is alive with spirits that cling to its walls like frost. And if you choose to stay the night, you may find yourself waking to a pair of unseen eyes studying you from the darkness. 2. Port Chatham, Alaska's abandoned ghost town. On the southern coast of the Kenai Peninsula lies Port Chatham, a place most Alaskans avoid speaking about. Once a thriving cannery town, it was suddenly abandoned in the 1950s, and the reasons why are drenched in legend. The stories speak of a creature known as the Nantinak, a terrifying, Bigfoot-like being that stalked the forests and cliffs around the village. Fishermen disappeared without a trace. Hunters were found mangled, their bodies torn apart in ways no bear could manage. Families began to vanish, and soon, Port Chatham was left to the elements. Even now, modern campers who brave the site report strange happenings. Heavy footsteps circle their tents at night. Rocks are hurled from the darkness. An unbearable sense of dread creeps in, as if eyes watch from the tree line. Some have fled in the middle of the night, refusing to ever return. The ruins of Port Chatham still remain, silent and rotting by the water's edge. Locals warn that if you go there, you might not come back. Because here, it's not just ghosts that haunt the land, it's something far older, far hungrier. Tarche, Eklutna Cemetery, Anchorage, Alaska. Unlike the towering ruins of the Buckner Building, Eklutna Cemetery is small, humble, and deceptively peaceful. Rows of brightly colored spirit houses small, wooden structures painted in vivid reds, blues, and whites cover the graves. A mix of Russian Orthodox tradition and Athabascan native beliefs. The cemetery is sacred ground, but sacred does not mean silent. Visitors describe feeling watched as they walk between the spirit houses. Some report whispers carried on the wind, voices speaking in languages they cannot understand. Others see pale shapes moving at the tree line, keeping pace but never drawing close. One of the eeriest tales is of a faceless woman who drifts among the graves at twilight. She's said to hover near the smaller spirit houses, those belonging to children. Her presence is accompanied by a deep chill, even in summer. Locals believe she is a guardian, but not all encounters feel protective. Some leave with overwhelming dread, as if they've disturbed something ancient. At night, lantern lights appear to flicker between the graves, though the cemetery is deserted. Whether they're spirits of ancestors watching over the living or something far more sinister. One thing is certain: the dead here do not rest quietly. 4. Abandoned Buckner Building, Whittier, Alaska. Buried beneath the weight of storms and silence, the Buckner Building was once the largest structure in Alaska, a concrete fortress built in 1953 by the U.S. Army. Designed as a self-contained city for soldiers, it housed a hospital, bowling alley, and even a jail. But after the 1964 Good Friday earthquake and years of decay, the massive structure became a ruin swallowed by mildew and darkness. Explorers call it the most haunted building in Alaska. Inside, hallways stretch endlessly, lined with peeling paint and dripping pipes. The smell of mold clings to your throat. Those who wander in report hearing boots marching through the corridors, though no one else is there. Some swear the sound follows them, closing in step by step. EVP recordings have captured faint voices moaning, whispering orders, or simply calling out for help. One chilling rumor tells of shadow figures patrolling the stairwells, tall, faceless, and unrelenting. Locals say the soldiers who trained here never left, their restless energy sealed into the concrete like trapped smoke. If you find yourself in Whittier and dare to enter, just prepare to face an entire ghost army. And remember, once inside, it's easy to forget which way is out. Independence Mine, Hatcher Pass, Alaska. High in the Talkeetna Mountains, the Independence Mine lies in ruins, rusting equipment, collapsed buildings, and tunnels that dive deep into the stone. At its peak during World War II, hundreds of miners worked these slopes, carving wealth out of unforgiving rock. But mines are never just about fortune. They are about death, too. Visitors hiking the trails around the mine report hearing the rhythmic echo of picks striking stone from shafts long collapsed. Others describe seeing flickering lantern lights weaving through the ruins. Rangers tell of an oppressive silence that descends without warning, so thick you can hear your own heartbeat pounding like a drum. Some claim to see ghostly figures of miners stumbling across the snow, faces blackened with dust, eyes wide as if still searching for the sunlight. One chilling account comes from a tourist who swore he saw a man in full miner's gear only for the figure to vanish when approached, leaving behind the sharp smell of smoke and metal. The tunnels are closed to the public now, but locals insist voices still rise from the sealed entrances. Prayers, curses, or perhaps warnings it's impossible to say. What is certain is that the mountain remembers, and sometimes it answers. 6. Igloo City, Cantwell, Alaska. Off the George Parks Highway stands a bizarre, abandoned structure shaped like a massive snow dome. Igloo City. Built in the 1970s as a tourist hotel, it never officially opened. The owner died before completion, and the shell of the building has sat rotting in the tundra ever since. Travelers who stop here often say it doesn't feel abandoned at all. Truckers pulling over at night describe seeing lights flicker in the igloo's broken windows. Some hear voices murmuring inside, even when the doors are chained shut. Paranormal enthusiasts report eerie drumming noises that seem to come from the walls, like the heartbeat of the building itself. Local whispers suggest the land is cursed. Long before the hotel was built, the area was used by indigenous peoples for rituals honoring spirits of the frozen north. Disturbing it, they say, awakened something. Explorers have emerged shaken, describing feelings of being watched by multiple presences at once heavy, pressing, like the weight of snow about to collapse. Approach too close, and you may hear footsteps crunching through the snow behind you. But when you turn, the endless Alaskan wilderness offers no explanation. Just the hollow stare of the igloo looming like a mausoleum on the tundra. Say the Golden North Hotel, Skagway's, Alaska. Among the wooden facades of Skagway's historic district sits the Golden North Hotel, once a jewel of the Klondike boomtown. Its walls have hosted prospectors, drifters, and adventurers chasing fortune. But one guest, they say, never checked out. Her name was Mary, though some call her Scary Mary. She was engaged to a prospector who promised her wealth after he struck gold. He left for the mountains, and she waited in her hotel room. Weeks passed, then months. He never returned. By the time hotel staff forced open the door, they found Mary lifeless on the bed, still in her wedding gown. Since then, guests have reported seeing a pale figure in white drifting through the upper floors. Some have awoken to the terrifying image of a bride standing at the foot of their bed, her hollow eyes fixed on them. Others have felt icy hands tugging at their blankets in the dead of night. Staff refuse to enter room 23 after dark, where Mary supposedly died. Mirrors fog without reason, doors unlock themselves, and a faint scent of decaying flowers clings to the air. Would you dare to sleep in a room where the bride still waits for her groom a century later? 8. The Jesse Lee Home for Children, Seward, Alaska. On the bluffs above Resurrection Bay lies a ruin that once echoed with the voices of hundreds of orphans. Built in 1926, the Jesse Lee Home for Children was intended as a place of safety, but it became something else entirely. Fires, earthquakes, and decades of decay have turned it into a carcass of cracked brick and shattered windows. Yet those who wander too close say it's never truly empty. Hikers and urban explorers claim to hear children's laughter drifting through the broken halls. Laughter that turns into weeping if you listen too long. Footsteps patter across staircases where there are no children left to climb. Some say they've seen small shadows dart between rooms, only to vanish when followed. Local legend insists that a little girl named Mary, who died of pneumonia here, still lingers. She's been seen staring out of shattered windows, her outline faint against the cold Alaskan sky. Paranormal investigators report strange EMF spikes and temperature drops so sudden they feel like stepping into a freezer. If you stand outside on a winter's night, the wind seems to carry whispers from inside the abandoned orphanage, soft, desperate, and pleading. It's said that if you answer back, the whispers stop. But something begins moving in the darkness to find you. 9. Skagway's Red Onion Saloon, Skagway, Alaska. The Red Onion Saloon still stands proudly on Broadway Street, a relic of the Klondike Gold Rush. By day, it's a lively bar and museum. By night, it belongs to someone else. Patrons and staff insist the saloon is haunted by a former madam named Lydia, who once ruled the upstairs brothel rooms with sharp heels and sharper eyes. She makes herself known in unsettling ways. The smell of perfume wafts through empty halls. A cold hand brushes against the skin of bartenders when no one stands near. Guests touring the upper floors hear footsteps pacing above them, though every room is locked and vacant. The creepiest detail, Lydia doesn't just linger upstairs. She peers out. Tourists have sworn they've seen a woman's shadow move across the lace-curtained windows when the second floor is completely empty. Her presence is strongest near a full-length mirror. Some say it was hers, and unlucky visitors claim to see a reflection of a woman standing behind them, even though they're alone. The laughter of long-gone Gold Rush patrons seems to echo faintly from the walls, but it always fades into silence, as if waiting for the next victim to stay after closing time. Kennecott Mines, Wrangell St. Elias National Park. Imagine a mining camp swallowed by ice and time, its red wooden buildings perched like skeletons against the snow-capped mountains. The Kennecott Mines once pulsed with life, extracting millions in copper during the early 1900s. But when the ore ran dry in the 1930s, the workers left. They didn't just leave behind machinery and cabins, they left behind stories. Visitors report hearing the clang of unseen pickaxes echoing through the husks of the processing mills. At night, some claim to see miners trudging through the snow, faces hollow, eyes dark, moving toward shafts that no longer exist. The wind carries something here, not just cold, but voices, muttering in languages long forgotten. Park rangers and hikers tell of windows glowing faintly in abandoned shacks, though no electricity runs through the site. Doors slam without warning. Footsteps crunch across frozen gravel, and the air feels dense, as if the mountain itself remembers the sweat and blood spilled within its tunnels. Would you dare to enter one of those buildings after sundown? The locals warn against it. Because here, the past is not just history. It waits, restless, in the bones of the mine, and it doesn't forgive trespassers. Alaska's beauty hides shadows deeper than its glaciers. From ghost towns swallowed by wilderness to hotels where the dead refuse to check out, this land of endless night carries stories etched in ice and blood. Perhaps the isolation makes the spirits louder here, or perhaps Alaska itself is a place where the line between the living and the dead was never meant to hold. That's all for today. If you enjoyed this chilling journey, don't forget to like, comment with your favorite haunted location, and subscribe for more weekly videos from the shadows.